Getting started. Welcome to this module on evaluation. One of the purposes of results-based management is to understand and sharpen an organization's contribution to results. Evaluations provide credible evidence-based information, recommendations, and lessons learned to improve future programming and decision-making. Solid RBM systems are the foundation for useful evaluations. By the end of this module, you will be able to answer the following 6 questions. What is the purpose of evaluation and its role in RBM? What is the difference between monitoring and evaluation, and how are they related? How to conduct an evaluation successfully? When shall I do an evaluation and when not? What to do with evaluation findings? How can they be used? Who does an evaluation? Who is responsible? Lesson 1. Introduction. Effective evaluation allows you and other stakeholders to gather, analyze, and use evidence to learn and improve programs. What is evaluation? An evaluation is an assessment, as systematic and impartial as possible, of an activity, project, program, strategy, policy, topic, theme, sector, operational area, or institutional performance. Evaluation aims to determine the relevance, efficiency, effectiveness, impact, and sustainability of interventions. Before we proceed, evaluation is an important element of RBM. Why do you think this is the case? What is its purpose? Take a moment to think about this. Done? Then let's proceed. Evaluations serve multiple purposes in programs. Click each button to learn more. Evaluations are a source of evidence of the achievement of results and institutional performance. They help UNICEF and its partners better understand if resources are being used effectively and efficiently to improve equity. Evaluations are usually conducted by external experts, and evaluation reports should be widely shared and issued as documents in the public domain. Evaluations are important contributors to building knowledge and to organizational learning. Knowledge generated through evaluations provides input for future decision-making. Evaluations inform key country program milestones such as midterm review, new country program development, strategic moment of reflection. They can assist in the reorientation of a program when facing changes in the national context. They can also be useful when assessing pilots to determine if an initiative should go to scale. By supporting organizational learning and accountability, evaluation aims to help to continually improve the achievements of results. Understanding what works and what does not work, and ensuring that lessons learned and emerging good practice are well disseminated, helps accelerate learning, which can be introduced into other interventions. Knowledge generated through evaluation can be used to influence policy decisions to enhance equity and improve the well-being of the worst-off groups. Evaluations provide evidence-based information that can be used to leverage partner resources and political commitment for pro-equity programs and policies. Evaluations should aim to solicit the views and perceptions of all stakeholders, especially the most marginalized groups. By involving stakeholders in evaluation processes, evaluation can be empowering. It imparts skills, information, and self-confidence to enhance the evaluative thinking of all. It can also strengthen the capacity of stakeholders to become evidence-based advocates. UNICEF supports national capacity strengthening for monitoring as well as studies and evaluations, advocating for rigorous methods and compliance with international monitoring and evaluation standards. Countries, specifically national and local authorities, should own and lead their national M&E systems. Lesson 2. Evaluation and RBM. Solid RBM systems are the foundation of useful evaluations. In this lesson, we will look at key RBM concepts and methodologies to conduct quality evaluations. First, we will look at the differences and similarities between monitoring and evaluation, both of which are important in the RBM process but assume a different role. We will then look at evaluation criteria and examine the different types of evaluations that can be used to improve organizational performance and results. It can sometimes be challenging to distinguish evaluation from monitoring. Are you aware of their differences? Click each card to turn it over. Monitoring continuously tracks performance against what was planned by collecting and analysing data. On the other hand, evaluation asks, is the right thing being done? Is it being done well? Are there better ways of doing it? Evaluation seeks to understand how a result has been achieved, document good practices and results, and learn from experience. Identify whether each description applies to monitoring or evaluation. Drag each note to the correct field.
Evaluation requires the application of evaluation criteria. That is, interventions are evaluated on the basis of evaluation criteria.
Below you find the evaluation criteria applied in UNICEF. Click on each point to learn more. The extent to which the objectives of policy, programme or project are consistent with beneficiaries and country needs and global priorities. In changing circumstances, are the objectives of an intervention and its design still appropriate? A measure of how economically resources or inputs, funds, expertise, time, etc. are converted to results. This may require comparing alternative approaches to achieving the same outputs to see whether the most efficient processes have been adopted. The extent to which the development intervention's objectives were achieved, or are expected to be achieved, taking into account their relative importance. A measure of the extent to which an aid activity attains its objectives. Analyses the long-term effects produced by a development intervention, directly or indirectly, intended or unintended. The continuation of benefits from a development intervention after major development assistance has been completed. Sustainability looks to the probability of continued long-term benefits. Interventions should be environmentally and financially sustainable. Analyses the extent to which interventions contributed to the reduction of disparities. Extent to which the intervention is aligned with and contributes to national policies and strategies on gender equality, and the extent to which intervention results contribute to reduce gender inequalities. A human rights-based approach is a conceptual framework for development that is based on international human rights standards. This dimension might explore how well has the human rights-based approach to programming been integrated in the intervention, or how the intervention has involved rights holders, especially the most vulnerable, and duty bearers. Depending on the objective of the evaluation, the type of evaluation used varies. UNICEF suggests 4 questions to help determine which type of evaluation to be used. You may proceed from here or download some detailed answers on these questions for further reading. Click the Document button to download. Lesson 3. Evaluation of humanitarian action. Accountability for results do not lessen in fragile and humanitarian situations. Given that human lives are at stake and the significant increase in resources spent by UNICEF in emergency response, it is critical to assess what is working well, what is working less well and why, and what might be done differently. In rapid onset emergencies, preparedness for evaluation activities in emergencies should ideally occur prior to the onset of the emergency to ensure that adequate systems are in place to provide data and information in line with evaluation criteria. On the next page, let's take a look at some particular challenges evaluations in emergencies pose. On this page, let's take a look at some particular challenges evaluations in emergencies pose. Click on each plus sign to learn more about the challenges.
When deciding on evaluation priorities in emergencies, country offices should consider undertaking joint evaluation exercises with other humanitarian agencies, both within and outside the UN system, to support improved coordination of emergency response, to lessen the burden of evaluative activity on beneficiary populations, and to pool scarce resources. UNICEF-specific evaluations can be undertaken whenever UNICEF's own performance is of specific interest and resources are available. The criteria listed we've looked at previously apply to both developmental and humanitarian settings. However, evaluations of humanitarian action or complex emergencies can be guided by additional complementary criteria. Before we take a look at these criteria, what do you think additional criteria for such situations could look like? Take a moment to think about this.
Please find below additional evaluation criteria applied in humanitarian contexts. Click on each plus sign button to learn more. Which groups have been reached by a program and what is the different impact on those groups? The need to reach population groups facing life-threatening suffering wherever they are marginalized geographically, socioeconomically, or by virtue of their social location. Is there coherence across policies guiding the different actors in security, developmental, trade, military, and humanitarian spheres? Are humanitarian considerations taken explicitly into account by these policies? The need to assess security, development, trade, and military policies, as well as humanitarian policies, to ensure that there is consistency, and in particular, that all policies take into account humanitarian and human rights considerations. Are activities of a short-term nature taking into account longer-term problems and connectedness? The need to ensure that activities of a short-term emergency nature are carried out in a context that takes longer-term and interconnected problems into account. In particular, the need to build back better, in a way that serves to redress rather than to reinforce or worsen inequity, and to address the equity-rooted sources of conflict and natural disasters. Is the response adequate in terms of protection of different groups? What are the effects of coordination or lack of coordination on humanitarian action? Evaluations should clearly analyse and measure UNICEF's contribution to a programme result. Results can rarely be attributed solely to UNICEF efforts. As UNICEF works in partnership with governments and other stakeholders, UNICEF mainly seeks to assess its contribution to results. Lesson 4. Planning evaluations. Planning evaluations requires coordination between officers, agencies, and national stakeholders.
The first part of planning for an evaluation is determining that it will be useful and that an evaluation is necessary. Not all interventions can be evaluated. It is important to assess the evaluability potential of each intervention. Click each question to learn more. An evaluation is deemed useful if it is planned and conducted with a clear intent to use the results, and conducted in a timely way to inform decision-making. Evaluations require time and other resources, but you should also consider the effects your evaluations may have on program implementation, e.g. disruption. Therefore, evaluations should only be commissioned where they are necessary and the effort is justified in terms of the benefits likely to accrue from the evaluation exercise.
An evaluability assessment determines if a program can be evaluated or not. When conducting an evaluability assessment, you should ask the following questions. The more positive answers you get through this assessment, the more likely your program can be evaluated. When planning for an evaluation, terms of reference, TOR, should be developed. Click the Why a TOR button to learn more. Then click on the document to view what is contained in a TOR. The TOR provides all stakeholders with a clear scope and defined expectations for the evaluation. They also clarify the role of each stakeholder and provide background context and intended uses of the evaluation. The evaluation team with the parameters of the assignment, clear expectations and objectives. Costed evaluation plans, CEPs, are another integral part of evaluation planning. They are included in every country programme document presented to the Executive Board. They should be oriented towards covering the major programmatic investments made by UNICEF and ensure that adequate budgets are set aside. Click on the Details button to view more information. Then click the document to view an example. Costed evaluations plans should cover major programs to ensure that adequate budgets are set aside. A minimum of 1% of the country programme budget should be allocated for evaluation. Evaluation plans should be updated annually and entered into the PRIME e-platform, Plans for Research, Impact Monitoring and Evaluation. All budget allocations and expenditure should be entered in Vision using the appropriate codes. The draft evaluation report should be distributed for comments to the client and other key stakeholders. The final evaluation report should then take these comments into account. The final evaluation report should always include a short executive summary outlining key findings, conclusions, and recommendations. Elements of the final report can be communicated in the form of information briefs, abstracts, workshops, and meetings with internal and external stakeholders. Evaluation findings, recommendations and lessons are made public and disseminated to all stakeholders concerned. The Country Office has primary responsibility for disseminating evaluation reports. Implementation of agreed evaluation recommendations should be followed up and tracked in the form of a management response and action plan, which clearly states responsibilities and accountabilities. A focal point is appointed to internally coordinate all subsequent actions by designated programme teams. All UNICEF-supported evaluations should make use of a written management response mechanism. The management response must be uploaded to the tracking system within 4 weeks of the completion of the evaluation report. Commissioning evaluations needs to be coordinated. That is, that the roles in the evaluation and the subsequent accountabilities need to be determined. Click on each role to view the responsibilities of each. The UNICEF representative is responsible for managing the evaluation function in accordance with UNICEF's evaluation policy and establishing clear governance arrangements at the CO level, ensuring the strategic selection of evaluations, allocating adequate human and financial resources to the evaluation function, including supporting the professionalization of evaluation in UNICEF, promoting joint evaluations with the United Nations system, supporting capacity development of national evaluation systems, ensuring the dissemination of evaluation findings to stakeholders in a timely manner, ensuring preparation and implementation of management response to evaluations.
The M&E specialist is responsible for serving as principal technical advisor for the evaluation function in a country office, coordinating evaluation processes and relevant documents with the regional office, promoting the creation of a plan for research, impact monitoring and evaluation, PRIME, ensuring that evaluation reports meet UNEG evaluation standards as assessed by the Global Evaluation Report Oversight System, GEROS, ensuring the upload of final evaluation reports to the Global Evaluation Database, and the upload of management responses in the Global Management Response Tracking System, providing technical assistance for national capacity development in evaluation.
The Programme Specialist is responsible for identifying evaluation opportunities, taking into consideration stakeholder demands, the situation of rights holders and country needs. Collaborating in the planning and implementation of evaluations for their own sectors. Reviewing draft evaluation findings and recommendations. Engaging actively with stakeholders for the review of evaluation findings. The Regional M&E Advisor is responsible for reviewing the quality of country officers' plans for research, impact monitoring and evaluation, PRIME. Providing quality assurance and technical assistance to evaluations managed by COs, including reviewing draft TOR and draft reports. Providing oversight of specific country programme evaluations and conducting multi-country and regional thematic evaluations. Disseminating evaluation results, methodologies and good practices to foster organisational learning. Facilitating access to timely and high-quality technical expertise and promoting exchanges among countries to foster horizontal cooperation. Providing technical assistance for internal and external evaluation capacity development, including South-South cooperation.
The Evaluation Office HQ is responsible for coordinating the evaluation function within UNICEF, developing policies, guidance, tools and global systems to strengthen evaluation, conducting or managing independent evaluations mainly at the corporate level, promoting evaluation capacity development internally and externally, maintaining an institutional database of evaluations and promoting its use across the organisation, disseminating evaluation results, methodologies and good practices to foster organisational learning.
Lesson 5. Using the evaluation results. The evaluation process does not end when the evaluation report is complete. In fact, learning and active use of knowledge generated from the evaluation is the most important element of the evaluation. A formal management response is required for all UNICEF evaluations.
The management response mechanism promotes effective use of evaluation results, contributing to organizational effectiveness, learning, and accountability. It is a formal requirement for all UNICEF evaluations. Click each question to learn more. The representative, or head of office or division, approves the management response and is accountable for ensuring its timely preparation and subsequent implementation and monitoring. The M&E specialist supports the relevant program chief in developing a high-quality management response for endorsement by senior management. Regional M&E chiefs provide assistance and guidance for developing relevant and high-quality management responses for each major evaluation. At HQ, the Evaluation Office provides organisation-wide guidance on the management response mechanisms, administers the tracking system, monitors key trends, and reports annually on the functioning of the system. The Office of Internal Audit and Investigation verifies the existence and implementation of management responses during scheduled audits. The management response outlines and documents how management will respond to the findings, conclusions, and recommendations of the evaluation. It sets out the proposed actions to be taken to address the evaluation recommendations where these are agreed or partly agreed by management. The approved management response is recorded on the online management response tracking system for subsequent monitoring and follow-up. We've almost completed this module. In a nutshell, evaluation findings provide evidence-based information to improve program design and planning. Evaluation results can also provide the basis for informed programming and policy advocacy. In this manner, evaluation helps improve program results and stakeholder satisfaction while aiming to promote the well-being of children everywhere. Congratulations! You have completed this lesson on evaluation. You are now able to Describe the purpose of evaluation and its role in RBM. Explain the relationship between monitoring and evaluation. Explain evaluation criteria and methods. Determine when and if an evaluation can be done. Describe how evaluation findings and recommendations can be used, and explain key roles and responsibilities with regard to evaluation function.